Hello, YouTube, and welcome to the Body Honesty Project. My name is Lydia, and today I would like to talk to you about some of the painful things in my childhood that often go not talked about. And this will help me heal, as well as maybe start a conversation with other people that might have had a similar upbringing and have been hiding these feelings for a long time out of shame or family loyalty, and have been really suffering on the inside and would like to actually openly talk about these things. So the topic for today is my mother, the vulnerable, covert narcissist. My mother is a narcissist, and I'm embarrassed to say that I only just figured that out. Now, before I get too deep in this, you know that I am not a psychiatrist, psychologist, therapist, or anything. But according to Dr. Romani, who's a very prominent doctor on YouTube that speaks solely about narcissism, she says that you can use the word narcissist freely. You just can't use NPD, meaning narcissistic personality disorder, unless you are a medical professional that can diagnose. So I'm going to throw around the word narcissist, but I will not use narcissistic personality disorder because I do not have the authority to declare my mother as that. But I am fully free to use the word narcissist when I'm describing her. Now, I had the misfortune of being raised by two narcissists. My father and my mother were both narcissists. But until recently, I thought it was only my dad, because my dad was the grandiose narcissist, the look at me narcissist. You know, the type of narcissist that's easy to smell a mile away. That was my dad. And I will probably make videos in the future about my father, but this one's on my mother. My mother is a covert, vulnerable narcissist. And that is so much harder to detect than the grandiose narcissist, because she doesn't make a public spectacle of herself. She doesn't crave adulation and credit and people fawning all over her. That's not her jam at all. The covert, vulnerable narcissist is all about victimization and self-pity. They cast a dark cloud around anyone that is near them because their feelings are always the most important feelings in the room. They do not care about anyone else's needs. They only care about protecting their feelings. Now, I came to this realization very recently at my wedding. As many of you know, because I've mentioned it several times in my videos and on my community page, I recently got married. And at that wedding, I had 17 family members. Now, I am from a very blended family. My father was married before, and he had two sons from his previous marriage. Then he married my mom and had me and my sister. I myself got married before. When I was 24, I had two kids and a stepdaughter, and now I'm remarrying my husband, who also has two kids of his own. So it's a very Brady Bunch blended sort of group of people coming together. Now, I invited my entire family. Not everyone was able to come, but those that could come did. And in attendance was my brother, who I share a father with, and my mother, who is not the mother of my brother. And I knew that there was some bad blood, some hostility between them, but I'd seen them get along in the past, so I didn't really think it was that big of a deal. Now, I'm not going to comment on exactly what happened 50 years ago when my brother was a child and my mother was an adult, but I know that some stuff happened and my mother still holds on to resentment regarding it. I can't speak to it because I wasn't there. I only heard the stories, and telling her version of the stories wouldn't be fair to my brother, and telling his version of the stories wouldn't be fair to my mother. And I wasn't there, so I'm not going to comment on it. I will just say that shit happened 50 years ago, and my mother has not been able to let go of it. When I told my mom that my brother was coming to the wedding, She fell apart. She begged me, please don't make me go. Please don't make me go. I can't. I can't. Just go without me. You're strong. I can't do it. And I'm like, your daughter is getting married. My father passed away 2 years ago. So if my mom didn't come, I would have no parent there. And I'm guilty of guilt tripping her into coming because I said, well, who's going to walk me down the aisle? I don't have a dad. And after a lot of fighting with her, she eventually conceded that she would come. And in hindsight, I kind of wish that I said, stay home. When we got there, my mother became on high alert. She always had her back up, looking for, where is my brother? Like, what is he going to do? He's going to pop up. He's going to upset her in some way. But my brother was really cool. He was really kind. He was really nice. And I'm not saying that shit didn't happen 50 years ago, but shit certainly wasn't happening right now. For the entire wedding week, my mother behaved like a freaking toddler. I'm talking about hiding behind trees, trying not to be seen. And when anyone would come up to her, it didn't matter if it was my brother or not. It could be anyone else in the wedding party coming up to say hi. She would go, I'm fine. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. And she thought, I think, that she was doing us a service by staying away. But meanwhile, she was casting this dark cloud on everyone. And you know what? For the first few days, I was making excuses for her. I was saying, oh, she doesn't feel well. Oh, she wants to go for a walk. Oh, she's doing this. Oh, she's doing that. And then I just kind of gave up. She wouldn't come to any of the family dinners together. If my brother was in the same restaurant as her, she would make a face and get up and leave because she couldn't bear to be in the same room. She really behaved like a child. It wasn't until my mother-in-law said, your mom deserves a kick in the ass, that I started to realize that her behavior is toxic. It does not deserve empathy. It deserves to be reprimanded. Because of all the toxic shit that she was pulling all week by hiding from my brother, being rude to the rest of my family, and not participating in any of the activities that we were doing collectively, I decided at the last minute, no, you're not walking me down the aisle, because the person beside me has got to give me love and support. I don't want you doing this out of obligation. I don't want you there because my dad has passed. I want you there because you love and support me, not because you have to do it. So I decided that my 12-year-old son was going to walk me down the aisle. But the day before the wedding, we couldn't find my mother. And the whole morning of, we still couldn't find my mother because she was hiding. As a result, when the wedding started, my sister had to scoop up my mother, who was waiting for me, and bring her to her seat, and she was a little bit shocked that she wasn't going to be the one to walk me down. I understand that this was probably devastating. I understand that this was probably hurtful, but we couldn't find her to tell her sooner. And what was most important to me was to feel that love and support as I'm taking the steps to marry my husband. And my mom proved to me that she was completely incapable of that. Now, the wedding day itself was lovely. My mom was able to slap a fake smile on her face and get along with people, and the day was beautiful. And I'm thankful that that day was beautiful. And I thought that at the end of the wedding, I'm like, okay, we're all good now. We all made up. We all are good. But no. That was just a fake smile to get through the day so that she would not be blamed for ruining the wedding. And that became very, very apparent the day after. Because the day after, she was back to her old tricks, hiding behind trees and being a little toddler. And when I confronted her about this, she explained to me how hurt she was by being cut off at the knees. And she thought maybe I should just go back to my room because I'm not wanted here. I knew I wasn't wanted here. All about her. It wasn't that she wasn't wanted. It was her shit-ass behavior that wasn't wanted. I wanted my mother there, but I wanted a supporting and loving mother there. not one that was jumpy and scowling and making faces the whole time. But she is so stuck in her own head that she can't see that. I have had emotional problems in the past, and I have done a whole lot of maladaptive behaviors to cope. And my mother knows this. And her last words to me before I left for my honeymoon were, "I didn't want to be blamed if you fell apart. I didn't want to be blamed if you were upset." You see, she didn't actually care about me being hurt or ruining the wedding or even the behaviors that I might do because I was hurt. No. She cared if she was blamed, because it's always about her. It's always about her. And then I started thinking, oh my God, this is how it has always been. My mother's feelings have always been at center stage. Every decision I've made in my life about me, I'm always thinking about, how will this affect my mother? And that's when I realized my mother is a vulnerable, covert narcissist. Now, one of the hallmarks of a vulnerable narcissist is they don't have an internal locus of control. They believe that their feelings are because of other people. They blame everybody else for how they feel. They don't understand that you are actually in control of your feelings. You get to choose how you feel. Other people don't make you feel that way. You make yourself feel that way. But my mom, she doesn't have that. She blames everybody else for the way that she feels. And this is torturous and exhausting to grow up with. Throughout my childhood, my mom would repeatedly tell me how much she loves me, how much she loves me, how much she loves me, and how proud she is of me. But you know what? She's never been there for me. Ever. She selflessly gave of herself material things. She did all the saving, the spending, making sure that we had enough money to go to school, making sure that we could do our sports, making sure that we were financially taken care of. She did all those things, and she took nothing for herself. Absolutely nothing. She sacrificed. So therefore, we all saw her as selfless. But emotionally, she was selfish. Her feelings always came first. Her feelings were the most manipulative thing that she presented to us. Because if you didn't do what she wanted you to do, she would either cry and turn into a puddle on the ground that you needed to console. She would yell like a raving lunatic, making you feel like you did something wrong. Or she'd freeze you out. Stone cold, go away, do what you want, I'm not talking to you. How mature is that? So I know that no matter what happens, I'm going to get one of those three things: crying mess, raving lunatic, or frozen out in the cold. I will never, ever get a mature discussion about anything. And this is exhausting. When I was little, the line that my mom would always say whenever we misbehaved, we being me and my sister, was, "Y'all don't give a damn about me." Let that sink in for a second. Y'all don't give a damn about me. So no matter what it was, we never dealt with the actual problem. It could be, "I don't want to do my homework." "You should do your homework." "Well, I don't feel like it." "Y'all don't give a damn about me." What does my doing my homework have to do with you? A normal parent would say you should do your homework because it will help you do better at school, talk about the repercussions that could happen academically, and encourage you to do something that's best for you. But no. In my house, it was always, y'all don't give a damn about me. And throughout my childhood and adolescence, anytime I did something that my parents didn't agree with, rather than addressing the thing, staying out late, stealing the car, drinking, smoking, whatever the hell it was, you don't give a damn about us. That was their line of offense to me. You don't care about us. And I was always so hurt. I'm like, why do you always say that? I do care. I'm just figuring some stuff out. But they always made it a personal attack on me, that it's because I don't care enough about them that I am doing things that they don't approve of. And this was so hard. This kind of behavior makes a person gaslight themselves, constantly thinking, did I do this because I don't care about my parents? Was I trying to hurt my mom? Why did I do that? Why did I make that bad choice? When those bad choices, or just choices in general, were all about just growing and learning. They had nothing to do with my parents. It had nothing to do if I loved or respected them. But anytime I stepped out of line, it was, you don't give a damn about us. And that's a hard burden to bear. As I went through life, I started to see more and more that my mother's emotions and feelings always took center stage. My mom was always extremely socially awkward. When I was skating, she would not engage with the other parents. She would say stuff about them being evil and being mean, and she just didn't want to be around them. And I was socially awkward as well, but my mother's behavior seemed to make it worse, seemed to make me more of an outcast. And I remember craving some normalcy, and we would have year-end skating banquets, and sometimes I would win awards, and my mother never came. Why? Because she had to protect her feelings. Oh, I can't be around those people. They're mean, they're evil. Meanwhile, I'm winning best figure skater in all of Eastern Ontario, Mom. I'm getting a trophy. Don't you want to be there to see it? Don't you want to get your picture snapped? But instead, I get the love bombing. Oh, I love you so much. I'm so proud of you, but I just can't. But no, I love you. The I love yous don't replace the emotional support I needed. She never gave the emotional support. Her feelings were always more important than my needs. And when I would push her to be there for me, it would be more of a disaster. You see, when I was 17, I had an STD scare, and I actually told my mother, and I wanted her to come with me for the extra tests that I needed. And I had unprotected sex at 17, and I was afraid that something wrong had happened, that I caught something, and I really needed emotional support. But I got the opposite. I felt worse after telling my mother, because not only did I have to deal with my own guilt and shame, I had to deal with hers. She made it all worse. And then I had to feel sorry for her because she felt bad that she had a daughter that would do such a thing. I remember trying to get her in the room with me to hold my hand, and she reluctantly did it, but she did it like this. Like she was disgusted with me and upset. And she would say, no, it's because I was so sad. I was so sad for you. Bullshit. You were sad for yourself. You were feeling sad for yourself, and you didn't give your daughter the emotional support she needed. I needed a mother that would say, it's going to be all right. Whatever happens, I'm here to help you. I'm here to take care of you. We'll get through this. We'll get better. No. I just got more shame. I got more guilt. I got more anger. And this made me start to say very, very little to my mother, because I saw she is incapable of handling anything major. She is absolutely incapable of being an emotionally supportive person, so I have no choice but to just eat my feelings. My mother can't handle them, so I'm going to eat them. When you grow up with a person like this, you feel like you are living in an emotional bubble of their feelings, not yours, their feelings. And it's exhausting. You can never feel genuine. You can never build real, authentic connections because they are never authentic with you. It's all about their approval. And if they approve of what you're doing, they are kind. And if they don't approve of what you're doing, they are mean or they are distant and selfishly sulking. I watched my sister try to be authentic with my parents, and that resulted in them being belligerent and shunning her ultimately. And because I witnessed that, I decided I was not going to share as many details of my life with them because I did not want to be treated that way. But that doesn't mean that I was immune to the emotional damage of having narcissists as parents. The worst part about this is that till this day, my mom will claim that all of her bad behavior was out of love. It was not out of love. It was out of control and out of protection of herself. And that is very sad. But that's what it's like having a narcissist as a parent. Now, I have many, many, many other stories I would love to share with you all about narcissistic abuse, especially about the vulnerable narcissist, but I'm going to save those for another video. This was just the tip of the iceberg, shedding light on what it's like being raised by narcissists and shedding light on what narcissistic abuse looks like. And by the way, me making this video is really going to piss off my mother, because nothing more upsets a narcissist than public humiliation. And she is going to see this as an attack on her. I prefer to see this as a public service announcement against vulnerable narcissists so that other people can be more aware of the consequences of dealing with a vulnerable narcissist and also strategize how we can get better and get away from them or learn how to have somewhat of a relationship with them. But my mom, she's going to see this and see it as a personal attack on her. But you know what? I don't care. So be it. So, until next time, stay body positive, but also body honest.